Hey everybody, welcome to the channel, True Crime Stories. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like button and subscribe so you can hear more. Thanks for stopping by. Now this one is from Without a Trace on Reddit. This one was posted only about a month ago. My mother's friend went missing in 2016. I remember every detail. So back in 2016, I would have been about 13 years old. I remember at about 11:30 a.m. on February the 1st, 2016, my mother got a phone call and someone told her that her best friend of about 15 years was missing. Police reports stated that this woman, Lorraine Rideout, left her house without her keys, wallet, handbag, and medication. And the only thing that she left with was her coat. Now, closed TV footage, like surveillance cameras around different areas, neighbors' cameras picked her up, leaving her house at around 4 a.m. the prior morning. Now, the footage, this person says they tried to find the footage and wasn't able to find it. If it's been kept, maybe by police. Now it says on this footage from her neighbor's camera, it looks as though she left her house in a rush. Like she was in a hurry to go somewhere, maybe someone had called her, there had been something happen, or she was trying to flee her house. Now at the time she was 57 years old and she had a lot of health problems. So she was taking some medications and those had been left behind. Canine units, the police, local authorities searched for her, but there was no trace of her. There's been no sightings of her since then. Now, some people believe that the daughters knew more than they told the police, especially the older daughter. The daughter was like concealing the reason why her mother left the house in such a rush. Now it also says that about a week after she went missing, her husband was doing some digging in the backyard and put a huge shed up in the backyard. And he had put up a wooden white fence. He was pretty silent with the police. Anytime anyone in the family or her friends would contact him to see if there had been any updates on her, he was very short with them. He didn't really want to talk about it. The police were called by some of the neighbors about him doing this work in the backyard. Said that at one point it was about 2 o'clock in the morning and they could hear what sounded like a drill running in the backyard. And police took dogs into the backyard and searched. They searched under the house, inside the house. They checked the walls and they just found nothing out of place. Okay, so now this is posted this year, 2026. The daughter of a woman who disappeared without a trace says life has been unbearable for her. Lorraine Rideout, 57, went missing in 2016. At the time, dogs, forensic teams, and divers came in and worked all around the area searching for her. Her daughter said that they would never stop looking for her and that they had gotten their hopes up too many times only to be let down. I did find another article written in 2017 The daughter of this woman, this Lorraine Rideout, says that her mother was last seen at Aberporth Road on January 31st, 2016. The family was desperate for answers. Her daughter Christine urged anyone with any information to come forward. Now, police investigated areas around the family's properties. They owned 2 properties. They did searches of the River Taft, and this was the largest urban search police in this town of Cardiff had ever done before for a missing person. But they failed to find any clues. Now, despite some differences in whether or not she was supposedly going shopping or going to a friend's house, her family says that she was supposed to go to this friend's house, but she never arrived. And they assumed that she had went to visit a family member and had spent the night there. Now, her daughter says that her mom left behind her bag, her handbag, her purse, her phone, and her tobacco. But she just says everyone who knows my mom knows that she was never without her tobacco. And she also says my mom does not go to areas that she's not familiar with. She doesn't just get out and take trips and travel around and go to new shopping centers and things like that alone. Now, this was 1 year after Lorraine Rideout had disappeared, and she says, her daughter says, we just don't know where to look anymore. At this stage, we have looked everywhere we know to look. Her daughter says it really hit home when we spent our first Christmas without her. She described her mother as being funny. She said she loved to sing and listen to music, and that she was a huge Marvin Gaye fan, that this was her favorite artist. And she was just a lovely woman who would help people if she could. People said it looked like she was leaving in quite a hurry. Had she had an argument with her husband? Was there problems going on there? It seemed like a lot of the neighbors and people were hearing some crazy sounds going on late in the nighttime hours after her disappearance, and they believed that he was up to something. And one neighbor even reported hearing what they described as a saw or a drill of some sort running at like 2 o'clock in the morning. But despite this, police searched, even though the families say that they didn't take the search dogs out into the garden area. I think the police thought that if there was smell of human decomposition in that area, the dogs probably would have picked up on it, regardless of it being, inside the house or outside in the garden. Now, I've looked through articles to see if there's anything any newer, any more updated about her. They did send divers down into this nearby lake and ponds and search those areas. They searched on foot. They had people, volunteers, go out and search. And they just never found any traces of her. Follow-up. This was posted in 2026. Her daughter says, we've been serving a life sentence ever since she disappeared. She was 57 when she was last seen in Cardiff on the evening of January 31st. 10 years later, no one knows what happened to her or where she is. Now, someone claimed to have seen her at around 7:40 p.m. that evening, and they say that she was supposedly going to visit a friend who lived nearby, but she never made it to her destination. She says, my mother was loved by her husband, her daughters, her son, and her grandson. She has missed so much. It's unbearable without her. Divers, our support dog units, and forensic teams came in to help search. That was really all I could find on Lorraine Rideout. Before I move on into the next part of this story, I would just like to remind everybody, if you haven't already, to please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I decided to put these two videos together, these two stories about these two women. Even though one was in England and one was in the United States, they had no connection to each other. But their stories were so similar. They were both moms, they were both married, they both left their homes, or the last person that supposedly saw them was their husband. The husband was suspect in each case, and there hasn't been a resolution in either of these two cases. So I just decided to put these two together. Today we cover a story from Wisconsin. Sandra Eckhert. She was last seen March 26, 2021. She was last seen at her home on South North Cape Road in Franklin, Wisconsin. She was last known to be wearing black leggings, a navy blue and teal University of North Carolina jacket, and shoes that were multicolored. Sandra had short blonde to strawberry blonde hair. Her husband, Wes Eckhert, who was one of the last two persons known to have seen her, and became a person of interest in her disappearance. He told investigators that he last saw her at approximately 11:30 p.m. inside their home. According to Wes, the couple had gotten into a verbal argument, and he stated that Sandra wanted him. Now this was about his mother's will. His mother apparently had recently died. It says that Sandra wanted him to contest the will, and that she threatened to take legal action. And Wes claimed that during the argument he took her keys to prevent her from leaving, and then he went to bed. The couple was reportedly sleeping in separate bedrooms. He told investigators that when he woke up the following morning that she was gone, along with his gray 2005 Dodge Stratus. There's another article about this that states that Wes said he saw her leave. He said Sandra also had a key to this vehicle. He further claimed that Sandra had taken several $1,000s in cash from their home. However, investigators have reported that there's been no bank activity associated with Sandra since her disappearance. Unknown to law enforcement, this car would turn into a spectacle in her case. Law enforcement saw the car at approximately 3 a.m. on March 27th. The Dodge Stratus was observed traveling on Racine Avenue, Tans Drive, and Crowbar Drive. This was 8 miles from the residence, her residence. Now, authorities have been unable to confirm who was driving the vehicle, and there have been no further sightings. There have been no additional reported sightings since that time. In April of 2021, investigators executed a search warrant on their home. Reports indicate that canine dogs alerted at multiple locations inside the residence. During the search, law enforcement recovered several items that could be relevant to the investigation. These included gloves, clothing, computer files, and bank documents. However, investigators reported finding no direct evidence of foul play. The search warrant also noted that a neighbor reported hearing what they believed to be gunshots in the early morning hours of March 27th. Authorities searched a property on Rawson Avenue, approximately 5 miles from the Eckhert home. In June of 2022, investigators conducted another search at this same property. They went back to the home and they collected electronic devices. Now, law enforcement did identify 2 persons of interest in this case. Someone asked this question. The car was reported seen traveling on several different roads. Was someone traveling around in this car, making sure that it would be seen, to create some type of red herring where people would say, well, I seen the car, and if she left in the car, then apparently it was her driving it. And did they search those areas? Did they search to see if anybody had cameras up that maybe would have captured the image of the car? And someone else says, I believe this is a comment that someone has left, saying that they believe that the car probably contained her body, so therefore he had to get rid of the car, and wherever the car is found is where she's probably at. Don't know that to be a fact. That's just someone's opinion. Sandra Eckhert, age 70, was last seen at her home March 26, 2021. Her husband said she left in a 2005 gray Dodge Stratus. She's listed on the Charlie Project as missing endangered. She's a white female, age 70, 5 foot 7 inches tall, 130 pounds. She had blonde hair that was obviously colored hair. It was dyed. It could have been strawberry blonde. She had green eyes, and her ears are pierced. Now, Wes Eckhert Sr., the husband, stated that they got into an argument concerning his mother's will. He said Sandra got up, got dressed, and appeared to be preparing to leave. He says that he took her car keys away and told her they would talk about it in the morning. The couple slept in separate bedrooms, and he says he went to bed. When he woke up the next morning, she and his car were missing. And also he says several $1,000s in cash. Now at 3 a.m., that very morning at 3 a.m., this car was spotted traveling southbound on Racine Avenue. Sandra's daughter says she did not believe the story and that she didn't believe her mother would have taken her father's car or driven anywhere in the middle of the night. Some of the couple's 4 children believe their father could have been involved in her disappearance. Wes denies this. He believes that Sandra left the house that morning and met foul play at the hands of someone trying to rob her because she had all this money. So they were not able to say for a fact that she had any cash. But he wanted others to believe that she took this cash and there was probably motive of someone to rob her. How did anyone know that she had all this cash on her? Investigators believe that she was a victim of homicide, but they've been unable to find any traces of her to say that. This story came up as I was researching this about this missing woman. A Wisconsin man recently crashed an SUV belonging to his wife. This reminded authorities and the public that his wife has been missing since 2021. Police officers in Wisconsin rushed to the scene of a wreck on Interstate 94, only to realize that the driver was possibly connected to a bigger crime. Traffic cameras caught the driver of the red SUV heading northbound in the southbound lane at around 1 p.m. Police officers shared that the driver may have been experiencing a medical issue, and they gave him a $330 fine for driving the wrong way. However, the suspect, identified as Wesley Eckhert, is a person of interest in the case involving his wife, who has been missing since 2021. So there weren't a whole lot more details about this case other than her family was divided. Some of the children believe that their father did have something to do with this. Some neighbors reported that hearing what they described as possible gunshots on the night that she went missing. And when the home was searched, they said that dogs did alert to a couple of different places inside the house and garage. One of the daughters said that she had overheard an argument between her parents where the father threatened to kill his wife and told her that he would do away with her body in a hot water heater. And police did discover that not too long after she went missing that this man did scrap some hot water heaters at a local scrapyard. And police went there and talked to the people there, and they said that if her body was inside of any of this scrap and it went through their machines, there would have been nothing left to look for. So they couldn't find anything like that. Now, in one article that I read, while it didn't give names, it did say that there were two people of interest and that they went to the home where she lived and that one person was arrested but later released. I'm going to assume that that's her husband. And apparently they were not able to make any charges stick against him because as of right now, I've not been able to find anything saying that her case has moved forward. And that's pretty much where it stands right now. Now, her husband, Wes Eckhert, was involved in a wrong way traffic stop. He was in a red SUV and he was going the wrong way. Police did stop him, and this was his wife's SUV that he was driving. And police say that that they believed he was having a medical emergency of some kind. He wasn't arrested for this, but he was fined. He was cited for, endangerment and traffic violations and given a ticket and a fine. And they could find nothing that, linked this incident to what happened to his wife. It's just believed that the two of them were having an argument, a disagreement. She was planning to divorce him according to some family and friends, and they were having a fight about this, about his mother's will, and she wanted him to contest it, and they were fighting about that. And she disappeared along with her car, and there's never been any trace of her since then. As this video comes to an end, I would just like to remind everybody to please like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.